Okay, evaluate this idea. Extra Strawberry 203. You got it. All right. Hi, all. I'm a software consultant with more than 5 years of work experience in 3 different countries. I plan to start a newsletter where I can analyze websites from a rough technical point of view and a business point of view and help readers quickly gauge their ideas' feasibility. I will not use ChatGPT, but my work experience and professional network to analyze websites. I hypothesize that new business owners and non-technical startups will find this useful. If you like the idea, leave a comment and I will message you my Substack to get your feedback. Interesting. No, you have that look. You have that look like you want to say something. Just say it.
It's funny because people come up with ideas like this, and I'm like, so you want to be a technical SEO consultant?
Right.
Because that's really what they do. There's software out there that will analyze a website from a technical point of view, and then from the business point of view is more the marketing side of things. Unless they're talking about actually evaluating the business idea itself. But that's what business consultants do, right?
Okay,
so I'm unclear about what it is that...
Well, he just says analyze. We don't know what he means by
correct.
Analyze. It could mean a variety of things.
Right, like I can tell you, log onto your website and tell you whether your color scheme is bad or
right.
whether it's technically bad. Like there's so many different...
So maybe the word analyze here needs to include a variety of things, right? Because you're right. There's so many tools out there that tell you, is it SEO optimized? Is it this? Is it that? Are there many tools that tell you a whole bunch of things though, right? So let me give you an example. One of the things that's flying around right now all over the country is ADA compliance with websites, American with Disabilities Act. And for those of you who have websites and don't know this, your website is required to be ADA compliant so that people with hearing disabilities or visual disabilities, etc., will be able to still run, go through your website. And there's various requirements, whether it's large, the ability to increase the text size or behind the code, if there's an image, it has the title of what the image is, prompting exactly things like that. And there's unfortunately ADA vultures out there that go or trolls, I should say, that will find websites that aren't ADA compliant and then file a suit against them. We won't get into that. My point is,
we've had to deal with lots of those.
I unfortunately have to deal with them on occasion, not as often as you think, but on occasion I have to deal with them, and they suck. Everyone loses in the end because even if you're right, you're wrong, because you've now been part of a lawsuit. You spent $10,000 to prove that you're right. Not the point here. Point is, with a tool that quote unquote analyzes, it should analyze a whole bunch of different things, right? Not just the color scheme, not just ADA compliance, not just SEO optimization, not just, whether or not, how many sites are linking back to it. It should analyze a whole variety of things with one click. Give them a one-stop shop where they can, because you can do that, right? You can do that. You can go through the site. It might take 15, 20 minutes, but then you get a report with everything about your site that you need to be concerned with, right? And I'm sure you deal with tools like that on a regular basis.
Yep, they exist.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying if you're going to build something like that, that's what you would build.
So the problem is always you use a tool to get a report, but you have to be able to understand what the report is really saying, right? And most of these tools that have this type of stuff will give you details on what the actual problem is and how to resolve it. What they won't do is tell you how good your copy is, right?
Okay.
They'll just tell you it's good from an SEO perspective, but is it good from a sales perspective, right?
Now, how would you be? That's a great point. Now, I'm trying to think technically here. How would I write an algorithm to tell if my sales content, my sales copy is good for humans to pick it up and say, yes, I want to buy this? Because I know how to do it for SEO. I know how to do it for computer algorithms.
Correct.
I don't know how to do it for people.
So this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
And before you can evaluate whether or not your copy is good for people or not, you need to understand who you're selling to.
Sure.
Because there is not a universal, this is good sales copy.
Sure, B2B, B2C, B to kids, B to adults.
No,
right?
even within personality types.
Oh, sure.
Right? So think about how many people are fear-driven versus pleasure-driven, right? You would think that most people are pleasure-driven.
Right.
No, it's actually like 56% of people are fear-driven, right? So if you have like call it FOMO copy, right? Fear of missing out.
Yeah. Yep.
You might have really good copy for someone that has FOMO. It's going to be horrible for someone that doesn't lean in that direction because they're going to be like, so?
Right.
So what if I miss out? So what if you use scarcity tactics or any of that stuff, right? So that's why it's so hard to build any type of, well, it's going to become easier with AI. But before you can tell someone whether their sales copy is good or bad, you need to understand who they're selling to. And that's how you base whether your copy is good or bad.
Okay, so how do you determine that? So let's say if it were me, I would build a plethora of newsletters, right? All with various personality traits, and I would send them to my people, to my newsletter readers. And over time, I would think you'd be able to get a good idea of each individual newsletter reader, what type of personality they are by how they engage with the different personality types. So if I send one out that's fear of missing out, for as you used, right, and a bunch of people interact with that one, but then another one is all about pleasure, and those people don't interact with this one, I have a pretty good idea of what I need to send these people versus the people that interact with the pleasure one.
Correct. So,
right?
So this is how AI is actually changing a lot of this stuff. Is like. Back when ChatGPT first launched, for example, I was testing all kinds of stuff. One of the things I did was I would go on someone's LinkedIn profile. I would copy all of their information, paste it into ChatGPT and say, hey, I need a psychological buyer profile on this person. And ChatGPT would spit it out. And I was doing it with people that I already knew, right? That we'd already analyzed, that I knew personally. So like I had a basic understanding of whether it would be correct or not. And it was like 99% spot on.
Okay.
So a lot of this stuff is there. And my prediction is that we are going to get to a point, if we are allowed to track people, we are going to get to a point that if you're logged into Google and you come to my website, you're going to see copy that's customized to you.
Okay.
Right? Because we see that in newsletters. We
Sure.
see it because there we can track all this information. But I think just like we use tracking software, that if you come from an AdWords campaign, you see a different phone number. If you come through Facebook, you see a different
Sure.
phone number. I think it's going to get to the next level where I will almost instantly be able to run a personality profile on you, or I'll get a psychological buyer profile from you, from Google or from Meta, that categorizes you in some.
I see what you're saying.
So
Okay.
when you land on the page, that copy is actually tailored to you.
Sure.
And AI is writing it almost in real time.
I mean, heck, I could do that now.
It's right.
I can make that work now, with the exception of getting the personality type.
Correct. That's the information that we still can't get. But it wouldn't surprise me the least if that's where we're headed.
So supermarkets do that now, and if you've noticed that, if the circulars sometimes that you get in the mail now, they're very different than the one your neighbor gets.
Oh yeah, because
and it's a lot of times it's tailored toward you. It's all
Correct.
the stuff that you buy, and based off the stuff that you buy, they're giving you other things that
Yes.
that, in generally speaking, you would be enticed to buy.
Yep. So I think we're going to get to a point. I don't know if they're technically allowed to do this, but we're going to get to a point where Facebook and social media platforms are going to be fantastic because they can give you a basic psych profile of a user, and they can attach it. They could make default profiles, right? Like they could have 12 profiles, but whenever you click on an ad, your profile ID of personality type comes with it as a anonymous number.
You don't even need an ad. They're remarketing, right? They don't use ads for that.
No, not for retargeting, but that means you've already, so that is on platform tracking.
Yeah.
So like I can't see who exactly the people were that came and who I'm retargeting to. Facebook retains all that information.
Of course.
Right? But what I'm talking about
What I'm saying is if someone just goes to your website and you have the cookie or whatever from Facebook to know you won't know who that person is
Correct.
exactly because
But I would need that identifier. What
in order to
personality?
find out what their personality type is. So their personality type 17 or
Correct.
whatever that is, and your system knows that 17 means
Correct.
FOMO or
So
something.
this is what I really think a lot of this AI is doing behind the scenes, which is why if you're running 3 or 4 different versions of ads, you're basically running them to 3 or 4 different personality types, and the algorithm is figuring out who to serve it to.
It's all marketing. The internet has really gone from scientific research to nothing but marketing. It's all it is.
That's pretty much what it is. But what's interesting is that's why we always say, like, you have to make sure that the ad you put out matches the copy they land on, because the ad that you're putting out is going to hit certain people, certain personality profiles that are most likely to respond to that type of ad.
Right.
But if you have one generic landing page for everybody that comes onto it, it's probably not going to convert, because
No,
if
makes sense.
you're using a FOMO ad but pleasure copy, those two are not necessarily going to work. Same thing if you're running pleasure ad and then have FOMO copy, it's not always going to. But this is part of the reason when we look at something and we go, oh, it had an 8% conversion rate or
Right.
12% conversion rate, and we consider that good. It's because we haven't gotten to the point yet where we can totally fine tune this entire process. But
Now,
I think we're getting there.
When someone goes on Google and types in keywords to search and they find you,
Yes.
and they hit your link, you can use what's called CGI script to determine where they came from.
Correct.
And I believe because the URL that Google has after you type in the search will give you the keywords that they use to find you as well.
So yeah, you see that you get that in your data, yes.
Right. Well, not just in the data, but in the actual
in the string, yes.
Yeah, exactly. In
Yes.
the redirect string that they, well, not the redirect, but the string that is what's called the referrer string, HTTP referrer. So that'd be interesting to use that to say, okay, I know what they were searching for when they looked for me. Let me give them content written by AI
Right.
that is geared to around those words that they're looking for. So it's stronger for those words.
Correct.
Right. So like as an attorney, if someone typed in, looking to start a business.
So right now, that process is almost happening backwards.
Okay.
So if you're running AdWords and you allow Google to create ads for you, that's basically what they're doing backwards. They're
Right.
trying to figure out where are we going to send them on your website,
Right.
based on the ads that we generated for you to get the highest conversion rate. So they're basically doing it just in reverse.
No, I get it.
Because at the end of the day, if you're not converting with your ads, you're going to stop advertising.
Right. Of course.
So they're trying to do everything they can on their end.
to keep the money coming out of your pocket.
Correct.
All right. Well, anyway, so back to this. No, cool. Again, it's out there. There's lots of things that do it.
Yeah,
I would say it's got to be something it's a multi-tool. It can't just do one or two things. It's got to do a
Correct.
variety of things.
Yeah. And I think it's different aspects. And this is why I always say you're never going to eliminate the human element from analyzing anything.
Right.
Not yet, because there's an understanding that we have as humans that what's good here is not good here.
Right.
And AI, for example, is not 100% clear on why is it good here and not good here,
Right.
because it's missing the third component, right? Which we as humans just know.
It's just instinctively,
Correct.
instinctively in our mind.
When you are in that field and you've been doing it, yes.
AI just hasn't learned that yet.